Hey everyone, welcome back to Blue Aquatics. I am your host Himanshu Suri, and today we are tackling a question that is super common among aquarium hobbyists: sponge filter versus ceramic rings. Which one is the best? If you have ever set up an aquarium, you know filtration is the backbone of a healthy tank. It keeps your water clean, your fish happy, and your ecosystem thriving. Two popular filtration media, sponge filters and ceramic rings, are often debated in the aquarium community, and for good reason. They are both excellent at supporting the nitrogen cycle, but they work in different ways and suit different setups. In this video, we are going to dive deep into how sponge filters and ceramic rings work, compare their strengths and weaknesses, and explore which one is the best for your tank. Whether you are running a nano tank, a shrimp setup, or a massive community aquarium, this is going to be a comprehensive guide. So grab a drink, settle in, and let's get started. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video from Blue Aquatics. Let's kick things off by understanding what a sponge filter is and how it fits into your aquarium. A sponge filter is a simple, affordable filtration system that is favorite among aquarists, especially for smaller tanks or delicate setups. It's made up of porous foam sponge connected to an air pump via air-line tubing. The air pump pushes bubbles through the sponge, pulling water through the foam. As water flows through, the sponge traps debris and provides a massive surface area for beneficial bacteria to grow. These bacteria are crucial because they break down toxic ammonia into nitrite and then nitrate, keeping your tank's water chemistry in check. Sponge filters are known for their gentle water flow, making them perfect for betas, shrimps, or fries, and they are super easy to maintain. On Blue Aquatics, we have talked about how sponge filters are a go-to for beginners and pros alike because of their versatility and low cost. Now, let's talk about ceramic rings. Unlike sponge filters, ceramic rings are not a standalone filter but a type of filter media used inside other filtration systems like canister filters, hang-on bag filters, or even some systems. Ceramic rings are small, porous, cylindrical pieces made from fired clay or similar materials. These porous structures provide an enormous surface area for beneficial bacteria to colonize. Just like a sponge filter, when water flows through the filter containing ceramic rings, the bacteria work to convert ammonia into nitrite and then nitrate, supporting the nitrogen cycle. Ceramic rings are typically used for biological filtration, though they can also trap some debris. They are popular in larger tanks or setups with high bioloads because they can handle a lot of waste when paired with a powerful filter. So, right off the bat, we see a key difference. Sponge filters are a complete filtration system, while ceramic rings are a component that needs to be part of large filter setup. To figure out which is the best, we need to look at how sponge filters and ceramic rings perform in terms of biological filtration, since that's their primary job in most aquariums. Biological filtration is all about hosting those beneficial bacteria that keep ammonia and nitrite levels at zero. Both sponge filters and ceramic rings excel at this because of their porous structures. A sponge filter foam has tons of tiny holes where bacteria can grow, and the constant water flows ensures the bacteria get a steady supply of ammonia to process. Ceramic rings, on the other hand, have an even higher surface area per volume because their internal structure is like a honeycomb, packed with microscopic pores. This makes ceramic rings incredibly efficient at hosting bacteria, especially in high flow systems like canister filters. In a head to head comparison of biological filtration, ceramic rings might have a slight edge in terms of raw bacterial capacity, but sponge filters are no slouch and can handle most small to medium tanks with ease. On Blue Aquatics, we always say it's not just about capacity, it's about what works for your specific setup. Let's talk about tank size and bioload, because this is where the choice between sponge filters and ceramic rings really starts to matter. If you are running a small tank like a 5 or 10 gallon setup with a beta or few guppies, a sponge filter is often the better choice. It's self-contained, easy to install, and provides gentle water flow that won't stress out delicate fish. The bacteria in the sponge can easily handle the ammonia produced by light bioload. For example, in a shrimp tank, a sponge filter is perfect because it doubles as a grazing surface for shrimp while keeping ammonia in check. Ceramic rings, however, need to be housed in separate filter, which adds complexity and cost. In a small tank, a canister filter stuffed with ceramic rings might be overkill, both in terms of flow and expense. But if you have got a larger tank, a 55-gallon community tank with tetras, corridoras, and angelfish, ceramic rings is a canister filter or some might be the way to go. The high water flow through the rings ensure that the bacteria can process a large amount of ammonia, which is critical in tanks with a heavy bioload. Cost is another big factor when choosing between sponge filters and ceramic rings. Sponge filters are incredibly budget friendly. A basic sponge filter with an air pump can cost as little as 500 to 600 rupees, making it a no-brainer for beginners or anyone setting up a quarantine tank or a breeding setup. Ceramic rings, on the other hand, are more of an investment. A bag of high quality ceramic rings can cost up to 1000 to 1500 rupees, and that's just for the media. You still need a canister filter or hang on back filter, which can run anywhere from 5000 rupees to 10,000 rupees or more than that, depending on the brand and size. For hobbyists watching their wallets, sponge filters are a clear winner in terms of upfront cost. However, ceramic rings can be a one-time purchase since they are durable and don't need replacing unless they break. Sponge filters, while long-lasting, may need occasional replacement if the sponge degrades over time. On Blue Aquatics, we love helping you stretch your aquarium budget, so let's weigh these costs against performance to see what is best for you. Maintenance is another area where sponge filters and ceramic rings differ. Sponge filters are super easy to maintain, which is why they are favorite for beginners. When the sponge gets dirty, you just rinse it gently in a bucket of tank water during a water change to preserve the beneficial bacteria. Never use tap water, as chlorine or chloramine can kill those bacteria. The air pump might need occasional cleaning or replacement, but overall, sponge filters are low maintenance. Ceramic rings, on the other hand, require a bit more effort because they are housed inside a filter. You will need to open up your canister or hang on back filter, which can be a hassle, especially if it is packed with other media like filter floss or activated carbon. Like sponge filters, you should rinse ceramic rings in tank water to avoid killing bacteria, but they tend to stay cleaner longer since they are primarily for biological filtration, not mechanical. If you are someone who wants a set it and forget it solution, sponge filters might edge out slightly, but both options are manageable with a little care. So let's explore how these two options perform in different aquarium setups, because the best choice depends on your specific needs. In a shrimp tank, sponge filters are often the gold standard. The gentle flow won't suck up tiny shrimp, and the sponge provides a surface for them to graze on biofilm. The bacteria in the sponge keep ammonia levels low, which is critical for sensitive species like crystal shrimp. Ceramic rings could work in a shrimp tank if you are using a low flow crystal filter or a hang on back filter, but the added complexity and cost might not be worth it. In a fry tank, sponge filters again have the upper hand because they are safe for tiny fish and easy to set up in a small breeding tanks. For larger community tanks or chiclet tanks with a high bioload, ceramic rings in a canister filter are often better because they can handle more waste and pair well with other media for mechanical and chemical filtration. On Blue Aquatics, we have set up all kind of tanks and we have seen both options shine in right context. Another thing to consider is water flow and aesthetics. Sponge filters create a gentle bubbling flow that is great for low flow environments but might not be enough circulation for larger tanks. They are also pretty visible in the tank, which some aquarists find less appealing. You can hide them behind plants or decorations, but they are not as sleek as a hidden canister filter. Ceramic rings, since they are tucked inside a filter, don't affect your tank's look, and the filter they are housed in can provide stronger water movement, which is great for oxygenating the water in a bigger setups. However, high flow can be downside for delicate fish or plants that prefer calm waters. If you are aiming for a natural planted tank look, a sponge filter's gentle flow might blend in better, especially if you are creative with your aquascaping. On Blue Aquatics, we are all about making your tank both functional and beautiful. So think about how these options fit your vision. Let's talk about cycling a tank. Because both sponge filter and ceramic rings rely on beneficial bacteria to work their magic. When you set up a new tank, you need to cycle it to establish those beneficial bacteria before adding a fish. A sponge filter can take a few weeks to fully cycle, but you can spend things up by speeding it with bacteria from an established tank, maybe by squeezing an old sponge into the new one. Ceramic rings also need time to cycle and the process is similar, but they are often used in filters with high water flow, which can help bacteria colonize faster. The downside is that canister filters or hang-on back filters with ceramic rings are harder to seed because you can't just pop them into another tank. In terms of cycling, both options are effective, but sponge filters are simpler to set up and seed, especially for beginners. On Blue Aquatics, we have got a whole video on cycling your tank, so check that out if you are starting a freshwater setup. Durability and longevity are worth considering too. Sponge filters are made of foam which can degrade over time, especially in tanks with high debris or acidic water. A good quality sponge filter might last a year or two before needing replacement, but they are so affordable that swapping them out is not a big deal. Ceramic rings, on the other hand, are practically indestructible unless you drop them or they get clogged with gunk. They can last for years without losing their effectiveness. This makes ceramic rings a great long-term investment, especially for larger tanks where you are already spending money on a canister filter. However, if you are running multiple small tanks or breeding setups, the low cost and ease of sponge filters might outweigh the longevity of ceramic rings, It's all about balancing your priorities and budget. Let's address some specific scenarios to help you decide. If you are keeping a beta in a 5-gallon tank, a sponge filter is probably your best bet. It's cheap, easy to maintain, and provides a gentle flow betas love. Ceramic rings in a smaller canister filter could work, but the extra cost and maintenance might not be worth it for such a small setup. In a 75-gallon chiclet tank, ceramic rings in a canister filter or sump are likely the better choice because they can handle the high bioload and pair well with other filter media for a polished, clear tank. For a planted tank, sponge filters are great because their gentle flow won't disturb plants, and plants can help with ammonia reduction, complementing the sponge's work. Ceramic rings can work in a planted tanks too, but you will need to adjust the flow to avoid uprooting your plants. On Blue Aquatics, we love experimenting with different setups, and both options can shine depending on your goals. One thing to keep in mind is that sponge filters and ceramic rings are not mutually exclusive. You can use both. For example, in a large tank, you might run a canister filter with ceramic rings for heavy duty biological filtration and add a sponge filter for extra bacterial capacity or as a backup. This is a popular strategy in breeding tanks where sponge filters protect fry and provide redundancy. Combining the two gives you the best of both worlds, the simplicity and affordability of a sponge filter and the high capacity of ceramic rings. If you are on a budget, though, you will likely lean toward a sponge filter for smaller setups or ceramic rings for larger, more complex systems. On Blue Aquatics, we are all about finding creative solutions that work for your tank and your wallet. Let's talk about some practical tips to get the most out of either option. For sponge filters, make sure you are using a reliable air pump to keep water flowing through the sponge. A weak pump can reduce filtration efficiency. You can also experiment with double sponge filters for larger tanks to increase surface area. For ceramic rings, make sure they are placed in your filter where water flows through them effectively, usually after mechanical media like filter flaws to avoid clogging. If you are using ceramic rings, consider layering them with other media like bioballs or active carbon. For a well-rounded filtration system, regular water testing is key with both options. Use a test kit to monitor ammonia, nitrite and nitrate levels to ensure your filter media is doing its job. On Blue Aquatics, we always recommend staying proactive with your water parameters to catch any issues early. Now, let's address a common question. Can you rely solely on a sponge filter or ceramic rings to keep your tank clean? The answer depends upon your tank's needs. A sponge filter can handle all three types of filtration: mechanical, biological, and even some chemical if you add carbon to the sponge. But it's best for small tanks with light bioloads. In larger tanks, ceramic rings in a canister filter offer more flexibility because you can customize the filter media to tackle mechanical, biological, and chemical filtration. For example, you might use filter flaws for debris, ceramic rings for bacteria, and activated carbon for water clarity. If you are running a bare bottom tank with minimal decor, ceramic rings might give you clearer water since they are less likely to trap visible debris. Sponge filters, while effective, can look a bit cloudy if not cleaned regularly. It's all about matching the media to your tank's specific needs. So as we wrap up, let's answer the big question. Which is better, sponge filter or ceramic rings? The truth is, there is no one size fits all answer. Sponge filters are the best choice for small tanks, shrimp tanks, fry tanks, or anyone on a budget who wants a simple, effective solution. They are easy to set up, low maintenance, and perfect for low flow environments. Ceramic rings are the go-to for a larger tanks, high bioloids, or complex setups where you are using a canister or hang-on back filter. They offer superior bacterial capacity and longevity but require a bigger investment and more maintenance. Your choice depends on your tank size, bioloid budget, and aesthetic preferences. On Blue Aquatics, we believe the best filter is the one that keeps your fish happy and your tank stable. So experiment with both and see what works for you. So thank you so much for joining me, Himanshu Suri, on this deep dive into sponge filters versus ceramic rings here on Blue Aquatics. I hope this video helped you decide which filtration media is right for your aquarium. If you have got questions about sponge filters, ceramic rings, or anything else aquarium related, drop them in the comments. I love hearing from you. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, share it with your fish keeping friends, and subscribe to Blue Aquatics for more tips to keep your aquarium thrive. Until next time, keep those tanks clean and your fish happy. See you in the next video.